Alright, we should be live. Microphone looks good. Okay, so the other day I was emailing Cranial Insertion to ask them about how the Sixth Doctor and Sakashima the Imposter interact with each other. Excuse me. Because I'm not sure how the layering works. Like, the Sixth Doctor says, except the token isn't legendary, but the token would be a copy of Sakashima, which says it is legendary and has the name Sakashima the Imposter. So, I don't know which one of them. Hang on one second, I'm going to start a coughing fit all of a sudden. Yeah. Sorry about that. So, I don't know which one of them takes precedence, like which one of them is actually true. Like, is it legendary or is it not legendary? So, so I went to email them, but they had like their articles recently from like related to Doctor Who. They had two of them. So I'm like, let me see if it's in there first. Because I haven't really been keeping up with Cranial Insertion in the past few years. I used to read them all the time just to keep my rules knowledge fresh, but maybe I should start again because this is a thing that came up. So they were talking about the card, I think it's called Past Restored or something. It's like a 6-mana enchantment. It's in red. It's from the Doctor Who set. And on your turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard by paying their mana cost as though they had flashback. uh, Basically, it's worded the same way as Liar from Midnight Hunt, I believe he's from. So, in the question, they explain that you can actually cast adventures with this card. And I was under the impression that you could not because of the way the card is worded. So I know you can cast certain cards from your graveyard as adventures because of the way the cards are worded that are letting you cast them. But because of the way other cards can't interact with adventure cards in the graveyard, I was under the impression that the ones I was omitting just couldn't work. So you can't target the adventure card in your graveyard as an instant or sorcery, except for that one Doctor Who card that is an instant or sorcery, and then its adventure is also an instant or sorcery. That is the only one that would normally work that way. So, while they're in the graveyard, like, we have Aquatic Alchemist here. While Aquatic Alchemist is in the graveyard, he's a creature card. That's all he is. Except that that's not entirely true. So, if I have permission to cast an instant or sorcery from my graveyard, there were certain cards that I knew worked with this, like Bosium Strip, where you can cast the top card of your graveyard if you're casting an instant or sorcery. So, that would work with the adventure creature as long as it's the top card of my graveyard. Like, it doesn't target, and I thought it, because it's not giving the ability to instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard, I knew it would work. But apparently giving the ability to instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard to be cast from the graveyard also works. And I did not think that that was true. So, cards like Liar, Past in Flames, Past Restored, the Backdraft Dragon or whatever it's called, all of those work with adventure cards to let you cast them from the graveyard, and then you get the so they go on their adventure and you can cast the creature side later, because both casting them as an adventure and being cast as a flashback card are sending them to exile, and since they were cast with their adventure and went to exile from that, you can then cast them as the creature side later on. Or whatever the permanent side, or the other spell side for that one stupid Doctor Who card that gets the pedantic side of me all flustered because I have to keep bringing it up whenever I say the other side of the adventure card. Can't even say permanent anymore, and I have enough trouble not saying just creature half the time. So yeah, so Beluna can run those cards, and they will work very well with her. So as a result of this, I am back on Beluna. I've pulled her back up, and I am currently actively searching for cards that meet these requirements. Gatherer was lagging out super hard, so I'm ignoring that right now, and we're over here on Scryfall, but there is Backdraft Hellkite. So this one works. Here, I think I need to do it like this, and just put all the new ones together. And then we'll see which ones I have room for, because Beluna already has 61 cards, and I'm pretty sure that's because I was really struggling to make one more cut, so it's going to be hard, but not impossible to make room for these cards, since some of them are just going to be better versions of cards in the deck anyway. Like, I don't think I actually need Sword of Once in Future if these other cards are going to work, for example. Dragon is a 4/4. That's flying. When this attacks, my instance... Actually, it should be ones in the graveyard. So my dead instants and sorceries gain flashback till end of turn. Where is he from? Double Masters, Double Commander 2019. Okay. Let's see. Then exile up to that many targets, so she doesn't work anyway. Yeah, if it targets, it still doesn't work. Targeting cannot work on them except for the one Doctor Who card. Seriously, I hate that card right now. But yeah, I actually mentioned this the other day, so I think it's the same rule. So this rule, half the time it confuses me to no end because it doesn't make sense, and the other half of the time it makes perfect sense. And it's the same rule, but when it's applied to different things, determines how much sense it actually makes to my brain. So the original example I have, way back in the day when the first Ixalan set came out, there was a card called Ixalan's Binding. It's an O-ring with the added effect that players can't cast the spells with the same name as the card that's been exiled by it. And then in Dominaria, there's a variation on Squee called Squee the Immortal, and you can cast him from your graveyard or from exile to represent his immortality. If you Ixalan's Binding Squee the Immortal, and there's no other Ixalan's Binding also on Squee the Immortal or some similar effect, you can cast Squee the Immortal out from underneath Ixalan's Binding. And the reason for this is that by the time you check to see if you are legally allowed to cast the spell, he is no longer in exile and he is going onto the stack. So he's not there to be the card exiled with Ixalan's Binding, and when it sees that he's not there, it goes, nope, that's not the card I'm looking for. I'm not looking for any card, actually. I don't know why you asked me anything. And then Squee gets to resolve. And that rule was super impossibly confusing to me why it would work that way. Until later on, I found out that it is the same rule. So, completely different card. I believe it's Oath of the Gatewatch is the Void Winnower, the You Can't Even Eldrazi. Opponents can't cast spells with even mana costs while he's in play. So it makes absolute sense to me that you can cast Rolling Thunder, for example, which is 2 red and X, deal X damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. It makes perfect sense to me that if you're going to choose an odd number for X, such that the spell has a total odd casting cost, you can cast that spell with Void Winnower in play. If the Ixalan's binding with Squee did not work, and work the way I thought it did, then you would also not be able to cast Rolling Thunder while Void Winnower is out, regardless of what you were going to pay for X, because the spell itself is even by default. It's 2 red and X, and until you define X, X is 0, so that makes it an even mana cost. This is the same rule. This is the rule that checks to see whether or not you can legally play the spell that you are trying to play. So, by the time you check to make sure you can cast the adventure side from the graveyard, it is an instant or sorcery because you're casting the adventure side. And you have permission to cast instants and sorceries from your graveyard with the cards that we are currently looking at. So that is why that rule works, and how I could not realize it works that way. It's because the rule itself is very confusing sometimes. Like, the same reason that it's not confusing at all for one of them is the reason why it's ungodly confusing for the other one. It's like, it literally says you can't cast the spell. How can you cast the spell? Can't is supposed to override can, except that the part where it checks for can't doesn't check in time to see that you can't cast the spell. Well, why does it work that way? Well, then this wouldn't work either. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. That one, working the way it actually does makes perfect sense to me. So, yeah. That is why I could read these cards, think they don't work, and pass over them. Because I thought I knew how adventure spells in graveyards worked, and there is a sub-thing that does not actually work that way and would allow me to do the cool thing with them. So now that we can do the cool thing with them, we're going to do the cool thing with them. So all those weeks of me going, well, we can't use that because it's not worded properly. As it turns out, for several of them, they actually are worded very properly, and we could have been running them. So, cast up to 1 target. No, target doesn't work. Is kicked, return target. Yeah, the way I've worded the search, a lot of these cards aren't going to work out the way I want to. I don't know if Kefnet works, because you're not revealing an instant or sorcery card at the time. I don't believe he works still. X damage, or X is a number? No. Yeah, these all care about the number of cards that meet the thing. That's... Don't need Jace, because he targets... top X cards where X is its power. You may exile an instant or sorcery card with mana value X or less from among them. Alright, so Liar, Disciple of the Drowned does work. Because he does not target, he just gives the ability to them, so... Three, blue. Human Wizard. 3/4. 4, and spells can't be countered. And each instant and sorcery in my graveyard as flashback. Hello, Bremerper. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. Flashback. Alright, so that's Liar. So he works with what we're doing now. Magnivore. Murktide, no. Top X cards, you may cast an instant or sorcery. I believe we had this on the list and then decided not to. Knucklevi is not what we need. Past in Flames works. Red in 3. Sorcery. Alright. So add that. Sonic Ritual, no. Buttle, pull from the deep. Riku target, so that won't work. There's Return the Past. Next is 4 red for an enchantment. On my turn, my dead instants and sorceries have flashback. Oops. Okay. No, Reversal of Fortune, Rise, said and done. Seize the Storm, Send to Sleep, the Curve, Shreds, Snapcaster targets. New. Target instant or sorcery gains flashback. Nope. Reason. Be a contest. There, Wildfire Devils, Spellbook. And 6, and yet another Aether Vortex. Okay. So it's only going to be these 4 cards that we have to work with. But I think we can very easily get like 2 of them in. I don't know that we want Backdraft Elemental. I don't think we have Swiftfoot Boots or... Yeah, there's no Swiftfoot Boots. Lightning Greaves. Yeah, there's no Lightning Greaves either. Alright, so the Dragon's kind of meh at that point. That's the weakest of the group. I think I'm more inclined to run Liar and Return the Past over Past in Flames, since Past in Flames is, I would say, a 1-shot, but it's actually a 2-shot since it itself has flashback. But yeah, Liar and Return the Past just being in play do a lot of work, and I think we can get rid of Sword of Once and Future, since that one has way more limited applications in getting to flashback our spells, and its primary reason for still being in the deck was because we didn't have any better options. Like, I still think I run Bosium Strip also, because every time I activate it, I should be able to cast something. Like, I'm not going to activate it if the top card of my deck isn't an adventure card, and I should be able to activate it frequently enough to recast adventure cards. So, what's that? Yeah, I think Sword of Once and Future can come out. So, the next question is what comes out for the other one. And then if we can find something for Past in Flames, I'll consider it, but... Yeah, I definitely want to get at least one more card out of the deck to add. Make sure we get Liar and Past restored or returned, whatever it's actually called. Pass Through Time, Beast Within, Karn Liberated, Torpor Orb. You know, there was a lot of... yes, this is for a commander. I'm actually going back and working on a deck I finished about a month and a half ago for Beluna Grandsquall. I was very wrong about how certain cards interact with adventures, and because of that, I am going back over and trying to find the cards that work that I didn't think worked that actually do. So, and we're going to adjust the deck to add in a couple of those cards. So, Shark Typhoon was very close to getting cut last time to be the 60th card, so that way I would have 60 lands and 40 spells. So I have to believe if I can't find anything else, it can go in favor of the um basically the card advantage that I'm getting from either Liar or Past Returned. So if we can't find anything else, that will probably be the one that goes. Although now it might be the Avenger. Because Avenger is in here to get a permanent back to my hand. Like, we could also use him to bounce one of the adventure creatures if it gets through, though, so that way we get two different adventures back, functionally. So, maybe it is still Shark Typhoon and its random shark tokens. Panic Giant, Grabby Giant. Yeah, we don't want to cut any of the adventures if we can help it. Harvester, Lozon, no. Passionate Archaeologist, no. They're all adventures. Yeah, I think it's going to be Shark Typhoon. Like, it's okay in the deck. It should be either Shark Typhoon or Springleaf Avenger, I think. I know Shark Typhoon was a lot closer to getting cut last time. And it's also a 6-mana enchantment, so it feels like it's a very clean cut for getting past restored or returned into the deck. Yeah, I think the deck will be better if all of my adventure cards can be recast constantly than if I can get like a random shark when I cast one. Alright, so that opens up for Liar and Return the Past. So, cut Liar, cut Return the Past, and we go Midnight Hunt. For Liar. And we go Doctor Who for Return the Past. My dad instants and sorceries. No, dead instants and sorceries. Alright. Oh, this is just what I've used to use all of the time when I would do this outside of um streaming. Like when I would just go, I wonder if I would actually like this deck. Let me put it together and see what it would look like. I just used Word documents back then, so that's what I've always done, so I kind of just keep doing that. Plus, it makes it easy for me to just copy and paste it in the comments section on YouTube when I'm done. Hey, did we actually want to get rid of the insect? And I don't think that we do for Past in Flames. I think he's fine just as himself to bounce one of our adventures and get another adventure back when he connects. But yeah, I definitely wanted Return the Past and Liar to get into this deck after I saw that they function properly with the way I was building the deck. Alright, so that'll do for Beluna anyway. So let's see, we're at 25 minutes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. Sorry, I horribly botched the rules on how flashback and how these flashback enabling cards worked with adventure cards. Like I said, the rule is just either very confusing or very intuitive, depending on which aspect of it you're looking at. Like the context of what it's allowing you to do and what it's not allowing you to do makes so much sense sometimes and absolutely no sense other times. So it did make me mess up. I did give out very, very bad information on what did and did not work with Beluna, so I wanted to correct that once I realized it. Plus, I actually wanted to improve her deck, because, let's be honest, I would have had Liar. I probably would have had Past in Flames on the list, because I don't think we had Return the Past when I was working on Beluna. I don't think that card had been spoiled yet, but yeah, I wanted to correct all of that, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.